If Sean Diddy Combs is convicted of sex trafficking by force, he will go to prison for a minimum of 15 years, and he could receive up to a life sentence. The criminal code regarding trafficking in the United States is comprehensive and carries significant punishments, thanks to an almost entire rewrite of the statutes that became law in 2000. Congressman Chris Smith is the law's author, and he says it's the most comprehensive he's ever written. What was it about the state of the criminal code at that time that needed improvement?
Well, the criminal code was almost non-existent. There were almost no prosecutions. The fines or jail time were not commensurate with the heinous act of human trafficking, sex or labor trafficking. And when we looked at it, I talked to a whole group of U.S. attorneys, including the U.S. attorney from New Jersey, and they had no cases to speak of because they say, well, there's no, we have nothing compelling in the law to go after someone who does these things. We put in a provision that said, if there's one commercial sex act and you're not 18, and it doesn't matter. That's an act of human trafficking, just one.
I can't imagine when you wrote this, you thought a music mogul would be prosecuted with it. Was there a particular organization or cartel or just group of people who were committing these crimes at the time that needed to be targeted?
Well, the false assumption that many of us had was that it was more of an overseas thing. With the breakup of the Soviet Union, the KGB went into selling women and drugs and women, as well as weapons. So there was this sense that trafficking was over there. It didn't take long for all of us to realize, which is why we wrote the law to be a domestic law as well, that it's right here in our backyard.
In addition to punishments for perpetrators, Smith's bill created training programs for flight attendants, hotel employees, and other travel industry workers who are in positions to identify trafficking victims and notify authorities. Smith also wrote the law used to charge financier Jeffrey Epstein before his death. Smith has dedicated much of his career to human rights. What was it that inspired a New Jersey congressman to dedicate so much of your time in Congress to human trafficking?
Well, I do work a lot on human rights in general, religious freedom, all the human rights issues across the board. What we saw with the breakup of the Soviet Union and the East Bloc countries, that there was a huge increase in human trafficking. The internet enabled a lot of it too, as that broke onto the scene. So this idea of buying and selling women coercively or minors, it was like, nobody's addressing this. There has to be a penalty phase. Not for the women, we hold them harmless. And that was one of the sea changes that we put into the law, that no woman can be prosecuted as a victim.
I'm Ray Bogan for Straight Arrow News. For more reporting, download the SAN app and turn on notifications.